All right, let's go. Here we go. Welcome to the show, and let's dive right in. Now, a couple shows back, I had brought up how California was denying parents access to their children's doctor's records unless the kid gave permission to the doctor to give the information to the parent. And I just, I didn't have time that day to pull up the video, but we're just doing a little bit of follow up. And then we're going to dive into the insanity of we were told by the Democrats that what? Illegals, it's against the law. It's already a law that illegals can't vote. But maybe some of them are that slip through the cracks. But it's already illegal, so why do we have to pass a bill? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through the last few days and clips and go over that because, wow, it's just insanity with the voting and all the fraud that's going on and that is going all over the country. But here we have a video of Gavin Newsom's California is now blocking parents from receiving the medical records of their children after they turn 12, unless they receive consent from their 12-year-old child. Could you believe it? They have to have consent from a 12-year-old? What is happening?
Can you?
Wait.
Hold on.
Say that again.
Wait, I'm like, can you? Okay, hold on. Let me understand this. So while he's 11, I'll have access to his medical records. But once he turns 12, the government locks me out.
Yes, because there's the I'm sure you've heard of HIPAA.
Yeah,
so
of course.
He now has privacy rights under HIPAA once he's 12.
So as a parent, I can't see my 12-year-old's medical records?
No.
What? I thought it was 14. I've heard.
Okay, so it's crazy, and I'm not saying that, like, I'm the bearer of bad news. Please don't get me.
No, I understand. You're just doing your job. It's okay.
I don't even agree with it. So, but, like, I literally had to have my daughter come in the doctor's office with me and say, you can give my mother access to, elevated access, and you can request elevated access, but your child has to agree to it.
Got it. Okay, he's not even going to understand what that is.
I know.
It's so crazy. You're like, you know what?
He's an 11-year-old boy. He's like
20 now, and he still goes, can't you call and make the doctor's appointment for me? And I'm like, no, sorry.
That is crazy work.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm so sorry, but actually, what I could do for you, so it's Melissa, what is the best email?
Can you?
I think now I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think the reason why they did this and put this in place. Now, Trump had already made it to where you can't be doing surgery on children or giving them puberty blockers under the age of 18. But I'm thinking they did this so they could somehow manipulate your kids. And I don't know. Maybe I need to research this more. We don't have time to do it today, but just throwing this out there that maybe this was in place before Trump made this ruling that you can't operate on children. And California put this in place. I'm hypothetical because I don't know. I don't have time to research it today because we're going on to our big story, which is going to cover a lot of time. But just throwing this out there, like, do you guys think that maybe this was put in place and passed prior to Trump's saying, hey, no more, you can't And I think it might have been an executive order. So once somebody else comes in office, that executive order can go away. Executive order, which stating, no, you can't operate on children under 18. You can't remove the girl's breast. You can't give them puberty blockers. You can't do all of this crap. So I'm assuming that this was put in place prior to that. So these doctors, these maybe psychiatrists as well, could manipulate your child without you knowing about it. Well, they could say, no, don't tell your parents, because their parents, you have control over, like just totally grooming them. Wow, this is insane. I would think it's a form of grooming. A 12-year-old, what is happening? I mean, you can't drink till you're 21. You can't enter the military until you're 18. But you're going to have a 12-year-old handle his medical stuff? What if he has serious problems? This is insane. Let me know what you think about that story. Now, I set up my today's show. I had to go back in time. So we're going to kind of go back in time to build up, and then all the new stuff that's come out, where we all know that President Trump addressed the nation, right, on what? On the fraud, on China being involved, on these machines. We have a problem with these machines. Then just a few days ago, what came out? A whole bunch of illegal non-citizens were registered to vote. Over 6,000 of them were registered to vote. And they're thinking that like 400 of them voted. Now, if 400 of them voted and that went to the Democrats, because we know like 100% of the illegal votes is going to the Democrat, leftist, Islamist, socialist party, formerly known as the Democrats. It's going to them. Duh. It's going to them. So if that 400, if there was an election and it was maybe there was like a 200, 400 difference. Well, there was the difference right there. So it canceled out your votes, ladies and gentlemen. You sovereign indigenous American citizens' votes is being canceled out by illegal votes. And it goes against the will of the indigenous American people. Now, this was on July 17th. Like I said, we're going a little bit back in time so we can get brought up to speed if you are not. Plus, I wanted to go over it as well. It says, wow, CNN just admitted that media executives made a decision behind closed doors to censor President Trump's bombshell election integrity address, which exposes Chinese involvement in our elections. Now, we also know that Trump dropped those at whitehouse.gov, where you can go see the declassified reports on all of this. This is saying pull their license. Some network executives felt it would be dangerous to just air Trump's speech live in full, unedited. That's where we are in America. They just admitted it. So why are they telling American people we're not going to air the president of the United States, who the American people elected, because we're saying he's lying? This has never happened before. They never did that with Harris, Biden, Obama. Nobody, no other president in history this has ever happened to. And then they go on to say, well, we're going to watch it. And then once they did watch it, then they go on and tell you what it said. Like you're supposed to believe them. This is insane. This is just completely insanity. This is complete insanity.
He did the same thing as this network, CNN, last night. The newsrooms monitored the speech, evaluated what was actually newsworthy, looked at the document.
They evaluated what they thought was actually newsworthy, not you. Not you, the viewer, the American citizen, the indigenous American citizens who are legit American citizens. Like, you were too stupid to make this decision on your own, that they have to do this for you. Now, I watched it on, I went to YouTube and I watched it on the Andrew Branca show. He's the defense attorney, the self-defense attorney. I watched it on his show. Because who the heck is watching ABC, CBS, NBC, or CNN? But some people are. And I do have some friends whose parents are still alive. They're in their 80s, and I do communicate with them every now and then. And one of my friends I grew up with, I still call her mom, and I check on her and talk to her. She's a Democrat. Bless her pea picking her little heart. I love her to death. I love her to death. But she believes all this stuff. She believes what CNN's telling her. She believes what the NBC, CBS, NBC, ABC Evening News is telling her. I've talked to her. Now, I don't want to upset her or anything in having discussions, but this was made clear to me while her telling me this, because I said, well, where, I said, we were talking, I don't know if it was the stupid, the pool, the reflective pool and all of that, or something was up, and I think I asked her about it, and then asked her, what do you watch? I was just curious. And then she told me what she watches. So she's either reading the local newspaper, which all the old folks only get the newspaper, and she's watching we used to call them the big three: CBS, ABC, NBC, big three, and then you have CNN. So these people are still watching this on regular TV because she doesn't want to. Now, I know there's a lot of older folks that have adopted technology and stuff like that, but she hasn't. She's not online. She's not looking at other sources. She's not Googling or using Grok or any other kind of aid, or going on X and finding all this other information that's coming in that's just left out from all of these other sources. Now, look, I always say use your own critical thinking, and obviously you should be listening to both sides. What are they saying? What is the other side saying? And what is facts? What's in between? What is actually true and what's actually false? Now, this is blatant. This is saying, he just said, we are going to watch it. We are going to analyze it for you. We are going to let you know what was true and what was false, instead of letting you use your own critical thinking and deciding.
Trump was declassifying and then reported on what happened. NBC and ABC both went on the air with special reports to explain that the speech had happened and to summarize what Trump had said, but most importantly, to contextualize it and fact check it, just as CNN did. Now, Trump was ominously claiming that the networks were part of a plot, but the only real plot here, the only intention is to remain reality-based and truth-based. Trump's election lies led to violence after the 2020 election. So this is a subject that really does warrant extra care and attention by journalists. And frankly, some network executives felt that it would be dangerous to just air Trump's speech live, in full, unedited, without knowing what he was going to say ahead of time. That's where we are in America. And we have been here before. I remember during some of Trump's COVID-19 briefings in 2020, he did the same thing as this.
Wow. Eric Daltrey is the one that posted this, and this is the thread. He says, pretty incredible. They just openly admit to censoring it because they wanted to filter the information. I would go a step further. I'll repeat myself. It's like, you are too stupid to use your own critical thinking to listen to President Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, you should be allowed to listen to what the man has to say. He was elected to the president of the United States, and he goes, hey, we've got declassified FBI, CIA documents that we're going to put out at whitehouse.gov that you can go research this yourself. But no, CNN's like, Trump lies. Trump causes problems. Trump causes diversity and divides everybody. It's insane. Let's see, Grog, do news stations have a legal obligation to air presidential speeches, and how often has Fox done it? I think Fox aired it. No, U.S. news stations have no legal obligation to air presidential speeches. Broadcasters and cable networks have First Amendment editorial discretion over content, and the FCC cannot force specific programming. Major address have often been carried voluntarily when deemed newsworthy, but networks decide case by case. Fox News has aired numerous presidential speeches live over the years, including many during the current administration, and carried the recent primetime address in full. has Fox declined to air any presidential speeches. Fox has carried numerous political speeches live, including the recent primetime address full of the generally air major. I guess they're trying to see if Fox has not declined them the way some other outlets did the latest speech. So basically, I just summarize it like, no, they haven't done that. And who cares? Who cares? Democrats are working with the Chinese to destroy the U.S. from within. Wouldn't you think so? Wouldn't you think so? So this just goes on and on and on and on and on. It had 4,000 comments on there. This had 1.6 million views. So this one was on the 16th. You had President Trump claimed mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt while advocating for his Save America Act, which would ban mail-in voting except in certain cases. Fact check rating false. This is CBS News posted this, by the way. Fact check rating is false? What? There is no evidence of widespread mail-in ballot fraud or corruption in states where no excused absentee or universal vote by mail is offered. The Brookings Institute found an average total mail-in voting fraud percentage across the 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022 general elections of only, what? There you go, 0.43%, or about 4 cases of mail-in voting fraud out of every 10 million votes. Are you kidding me? CBS tweeted this. CBS tweeted this. Now, that guy who was in committee hearings with Nick Shirley, dad blame it, what is his name? But anyway, he's an investigative reporter. He was in California. He was filming voter harvesting ballots for the Democrats and giving homeless people money to write other people's names on these mail-in ballots. And then in turn, they go drop them off. Are you kidding me? And then this says there's no evidence? This is CBS. This is the problem. Thank God we have X. Because a lot of this comes out at X. These investigative journalists have their own YouTube channels. They're not getting, well, some of them might be on Fox, maybe, right? And then they were at some Senate hearing committees or some House committee hearings to show their findings, like people like Nick Shirley and that other guy. But wow, they says this is false. What? When you already had that guy filmed it on film. That's insane. Another article by CBS News. They're trying to put this in context, and this is still part of the feed of their first tweet, their first post on X, which are they? I guess they are retarded. Like, nobody's going to be fact-checking the fact-checkers. The United States has a long history of mail-in ballots. Their use started during the Civil War, and in 2024, USPS processed 99.2 million ballots in the general election beginning at September 1st, 2024. Wow, the president has long tried to discredit mail-in ballots and in 2020 campaigned against their use. He continued his attack on mail-in ballots into 2026, calling for limits to mail-in ballots. So, agree, why not? 2 absentee ballots with an excuse such as travel, illness, military service, etc. through the Save American Act. That sounds legit to me. Now, we all know when Spencer Pratt was way ahead in the polls and that other Indian woman, whatever the heck her name is, she was crying and giving a dissent speech. So she was giving up. She said, bye, thank you for all your support. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, what was it? 30,000 mail-in ballots, and every one of them was for her. Really? And even the experts would tell you that should be mathematically impossible that every one of them was for her. Are you serious? They miraculously showed up. This is why we want same-day voting. I know I think SCOTUS reviewed that and said, nah, they can count the votes or whatever for longer, which is crazy. But Congress can pass a bill and say, no, we want same-day voting. That's it. So if you mailed in a ballot, it has to get there, and then it has to be verified that they were either in the military overseas or they're handicapped, whatever the case may be, right? So it needs to be limited. We don't need millions upon millions upon millions of mail-in ballots because people are lazy. I'm just saying, there's just too much room for fraud. Duh. CBS is literally vomiting hysterically. Fact-checking opposition before reviewing the evidence being released. This doesn't seem remotely like journalism. Exactly. This is crazy. The CBS is treasonous. You're no news station. You're a propaganda. Oh, so is CNN. Declassified CIA reporting 2018 to 2020. China's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in the effort to reduce. I mean, guys, there's plenty of evidence. Eric Daltrey again, he says, now NBC, CBS, and ABC face mass calls to have their FCC privileges license re-examined or revoked after they refused to air President Trump's primetime bombshell address surrounding elections tonight. Okay. Are they concluding to filter and censor the President of the United States? Because all of them got together. All of them got together and decided not to do this. Remember how I always talk about there's just these powers that be and everybody else is a puppet? So they sent out to CBS, NBC, ABC, CNN, all of them, and said, hey, don't air this. It's propaganda, it's lies. We don't want the American people to know because the American people are too stupid to figure things out on their own. What are they afraid of? Good thing X is the media now. It will all come out and the people will find out anyway. Exactly. The
world's most famous sore loser will deliver a primetime presidential sour grapes address.
The president is free to say whatever the president wants to say. There's a lot of speculation that he's going to take it back to 2020. I'm one who's always looking forward instead of in the rear view mirror.
I've seen a lot of reporting and frankly misreporting about what the president will say. I think the American people will be relieved to hear what they are hearing from the president.
Well, the president says he's going to make news with new intelligence documents about the 2020 election. He says in this speech that he's going to talk about election integrity, but that's not all. He's also going to talk about Iran, and he's going to talk about the way forward with the U.S. economy. Reuters has that ABC and NBC will not air the president's election security speech on broadcast networks.
The world.
Because what are they afraid of? They're afraid of the truth coming out so they can continue their propaganda. That had 2 million views. I like taking a couple of comments from the thread from that report. This is the communist news networks that seem to have forgotten we don't need their networks anymore. They are irrelevant. True, but you still have, and I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think it's more of the elderly who haven't embraced the technology that they're still watching regular TV. They don't have a laptop or an iPad or a computer that they go sit at. There's a big swath of them, and these people vote. And there's millions of them. Clearly, they're not comfortable in actually serving the public interest. Exactly. What did Einstein say in 1949? There will come a time when the rich own all the media, and it will be impossible for the public to make any informed opinion. Wow. Boy, Einstein was smart. He saw into the future. And I think that's a big part of it, too. It's, again, why would you not air it? Are you going to say, oh, he just lies, and then that guy just said, well, you have the most dishonest and blah, blah, blah. What did he say? Look. Let's see.
Sore loser.
The biggest sore loser. Trump is a sore loser. He won the election. They made it too big to rig. And I tell you what, I was paying attention during that election in 2024. They were sending out teams teams to all these states to make them. They took them to court. They had lawyers clean out their voter rolls. They were now the mail-in ballots, but Trump was saying make it too big to rig, make it too big to rig, and people get out and vote. If they're not scared, and if this is another thing you got to wrap around your head. If the left wasn't scared of Trump or scared of the conservative movement, scared of MAGA, then why are you afraid to have the Save America Act where just only Americans vote? It's pretty simple. It's like, what is the problem? If you're telling us that illegals aren't voting, but we still want to make sure, and we need to cut out this billions of whatever happened, not billions, millions upon millions of mail-in ballots. I think Colorado is like massive, is like one of the most egregious states with mail-in ballots. And it's all just, it's just theft. It's not the will of the people. So if Trump is saying, yeah, you could still have mail-in ballots, but it's going to be a limited reason why you have a mail-in ballot. That sounds legit to me. What's the problem? What's the problem? Right? So why are they scared? Why are they scared to air this? Why are they scared to vote on Save America Act? It makes you question it big time. Like, if it's not that big of a deal, then just vote the stupid thing into law. Only Americans should be voting. Duh. Come on, man. Still going back in time. And we've got Benny Johnson says, trending, people are saying that ABC, CBS, and NBC should lose their broadcasting license and refusing to air President Trump's national address on election security. They are calling on the FCC to yank their license. And they probably should. So then you had Gavin Newsom chime in. He says, tonight, America, watch the ramblings of a mad king. You know, I don't recall during the Obama administration that the right was blatantly disrespectful to him. Now, did people question his motives or concerned about his policies and things like that it's way far left and critical of him stirring up race? Yeah, that's all legitimate conversation and discussion. But they just come right out every time. Both that other guy and now him, but we just heard in that video, Trump's a sore loser. They just insult because they got nothing else. So this is what the left does. They attack. If they can't attack you on substance, they attack you personally. So then you have Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump's address was not about the last election. It was this one. Before a single vote has been cast, he's already laying the groundwork to rig this election and convince you not to trust the results if they don't go his way. Wow. All he's saying, guys, I would never claim that I'm like super smart or super educated. It's just either you can look at things with common sense. So common sense tells me, a politician said, you know, we need to have election integrity. I propose that we make a law that says only American citizens can vote. We're suspecting that there's mail-in ballot frauds. We have some evidence of it. We have independent journalists filming ballot harvesters, paying people to sign other people's names. So I think we could still have mail-in ballots, but let's limit it. Now, saying it that way, doesn't that make sense? But the left can't win unless they have cheaters, unless there is cheating. Why do you think they imported the third world? It was for the voter base. It was for the voter base. I wouldn't doubt it if there was cheating going on for Obama to get elected. Just throwing that out there. I don't have any proof. It's just speculation, because he was running as a socialist, and I was just like shocked when he got elected. Shocked. This is what authoritarianism does. Don't fall for it. If I could talk. Authoritarianism. Yes, organize, mobilize, show up, and vote in November. So this is what Gavin Newsom is saying. This is what he's saying. That had a million views on that. And here's the thread from Gavin Newsom's post. If the California elections weren't rigged, Democrats wouldn't be in power. That's all you're upset about. True. But we saw it with our own eyes. Like, wow. We saw homeless people were getting paid to harvest ballots, put on other people's names, not even their name. Filming people shoving ballots. Shouldn't your ballot be sacred? But you have some woman, some minority has a whole bucket full. All these different people. What is happening? Why are your hands on a sacred thing? Like, say if there's somebody who is can't get to the polling because maybe they're crippled or whatever. Their ballot gets mailed to them. Their caregiver brings the mail into him, her, whatever. They fill it out. Maybe they can roll out to the mailbox. They can get in their little chair, whatever the case may be, because they want to get some air. They can physically put it in their mailbox. And a lot of these, what's called hardship cases, and maybe some homes already had them prior, where the mailbox is right on their front porch. So they could just put that in there, and then it's handled by the mail person. So the mail person picks it up, and then boom, it gets delivered to where it needs to get delivered to. Why is there somebody else harvesting these? That should be illegal, because there's so much room for corruption. Wow. So you're saying that our elections aren't secure? Look, so you're saying our elections aren't secure. That's a good point. Because what is Gavin Newsom saying? He's afraid that Trump is going to, steal the election. Well, if that's the case, you don't want Trump, you don't want MAGA, you don't want Republicans, you don't want Democrats, you don't want Libertarians to steal the election. Then pass the Save American Act. Pass some laws. I like this sassafras lady. We don't have kings in America, your first lie. You tried to pass laws to prevent election integrity. You shut down your state and refused to let your citizens do normal activities during COVID. You act like the king. You are the authoritarian. Yep. Yeah, big time. Look, and then we have Pocahontas. Pocahontas says Donald Trump is spending his evening spewing lies from 6 years ago instead of lowering costs for you right now. He's spewing lies. Look, even if there was a hint of truth, let's give Pocahontas the benefit of the doubt. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. So, you know what? You insinuated, which we've got a clip coming up, that Russia interfered with the election in 2016, and that's why Hillary lost. Y'all were saying it over and over and over again, and you aired it on all of your stations. You were all repeating the same lines. But now Trump's saying, hey, man, China's been interfering with our elections. Not just the elections, but the birthright, too. The birth citizenship. Man, it's insane. That's a whole nother show, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So if you guys were kept repeating over and over and over again that Russia stole helped Trump win the election, then why wouldn't you not want the Save America Act? I'm just throwing this out there. Boom. Just throwing it out there. Here's Pocahontas' thread. She says, all you do is lie. Says the woman who pretended to be an Indian. Yeah, she wrote it on her thing. I guess getting into college or something. Either what, so they could get a discount. I'll have to research this. This is, oh my God. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. And you spent how many years lying about being an Indian? Wow. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. Oh, we've got Chuck U. Schumer. What a pathetic. He's so pathetic. Yeah. He doesn't even rule the party anymore. It's the far Islamist, socialist, communists who are controlling the party. The DSA. Come on, man. Tonight, a weak and flaring Donald Trump will give a speech full of grievances and blatant lies. Wow. He is laying the groundwork for the rigging of the 2026 midterm elections. Then pass the Save America Act so he can't rig it. I would lead Senate Democrats in ensuring he is defeated at every turn. So basically, we don't even need to listen to him because that's what he's saying. He's saying Trump is lying. Trump's trying to steal the election in the prime time. He's setting it up and blah, 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 blah. Really? It looks like to me, even if I'm going to take myself out of this box, look inside and go, well, if this side is saying, Trump's side saying there's cheating, this side, Schumer's saying Trump's trying to cheat and rig, then why not pass the Save America Act and be done with it all across the board? Like, you guys go, okay, man, we do need a Save America Act. Let's look over this bill, which you know they have. You know they have. Because they keep blocking it. They keep voting against it. All of this crap. We've been going through this for months. But why wouldn't they look at it and go, well, yeah, all this makes sense. You have to prove you're a citizen. No, they have to make up excuses. And first they tried to say black people. Black people don't know where the DMV is and don't have driver's licenses and don't have cell phones and don't have a computer. So they're not going to be able to register to vote. Then that backfired. So now, and I haven't seen a bunch of women coming out and go, because now they've attacked women. How many decades or for the past 100 years that women are able to vote, ever how long it's been, right? So when they get married, have they had problems voting? I have never heard of such thing in my life. But now they're saying, oh, you have to prove you're a citizen because you changed your name because you got married. But apparently all these women were already registered to vote because they were already American citizens. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there.
Tonight. A quick reminder.
So then we have CNN. We got CNN. This is from Election Wizard. Breaking news. John King announces his network is refusing to air Trump's address to the nation.
A quick reminder to our viewers, we'll be watching tonight's presidential address and listening to what the president says tonight. But we're not going to take it live. As we've been discussing, that's because this president, sadly, has a history of misleading and in some cases simply false statements on what we've been talking about tonight, election security and integrity. Also, the White House earlier today said he would be showing newly classified documents. So we want to make sure that we have time to review those documents, talk to experts about them, contextualize whatever he says or shows before airing it. But if there is news, we will bring it to you ASAP.
If there is news, we're going to bring it to you. We're going to review it, and then we're going to tell you retards what we think it means. And then we're going to tell you, he's just lying, and we think he's going to lie. He's just made all of this up. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, for 1 second, Trump, you can't stomp the Trump. You think for 1 second Trump would make himself look like a fool in front of the whole entire planet? Let's think about that for 1 second. They're saying Trump is going to lie. Trump is going to get up, and you know, and then he's doing this, airing this. The whole world's watching this. The whole world pays attention to what Trump says. Trump gets on live TV, and you think for 1 second Trump is going to make himself look like a fool in front of the world over saying an accusation on this level that China is involved in our electoral, that there's fraud from China and from the machines? Do you think for 1 second he would say that without having backed up information? Why didn't he come out with this before? Probably because Trump is somebody who's going to dot every I and cross every T before he's going to come out. And then, guess what? He's dumped CIA, FBI, redacted, uncensored evidence. This is crazy. This makes no sense. I mean, I'm just a little peon. And I'm thinking this in my head. There is no way Trump is going to get up and make himself look like a fool in front of a whole world where he has been building and building and building to make us be more, that the world respects us more, because now we have a leader with a backbone and some balls. Oh, God. We got Kamala Harris on here. And again, we gotta get rolling, right? Before the president gets on television tonight to peddle lies and conspiracy theories, here's what you need to know: the 2020 election was not stolen. We won, and he lost. Wow. So, are you saying Trump stole the election in 2024? I didn't hear y'all bring that up, because it got too big to rig. Plus, with your stupid word salad, you were the border czar. I'm telling you, man, they're going to go down in history as the worst president in history. Worse than Carter. Worse than Obama's probably second. It's going to be Biden, Obama, Carter. Wow. Wow. This is crazy. Okay, and then look, let me undo that one. Boy, that had 25K comments? What? Okay. Look, 8 million views, 25K comments. What? Save the America Act is voter suppression. How is this voter suppression? They gaslight you so bad, so bad. It's part of a larger agenda of conservatives trying to steal power from the people. Wow. Wow. So we're all complete stupid retards that we didn't realize, we can't fathom the fact that you have a bleeding liberal heart, that you let in all of these illegals. We saw you opening up the gates, tearing down the barbed wire, cutting holes in the fence, letting the door wide open. These people poured in by the millions. And for what? Knowing we can't absorb it, these cities and towns, the American taxpayer, all the fraud that's happening is directly from the illegals, all these NGOs. Wow. And why do you guys think all these illegals were poured in? You think it was from the goodness of these liberals' hearts? Ask yourself that question. Why would you let all these third world, low IQ people from prisons, insane asylums, murderers, rapists, you name it, poured into this country unvetted? And God knows what kind of diseases they have. You know what was crazy too? Is they let all these people pour in with no COVID shot. But you, the American, some businesses said, well, you can't work here anymore, or hospitals and these kinds of things, unless you got this shot. Wow, this is insane. But you let millions upon millions of people, we don't even know if they were vaccinated from any kind of diseases from their country. And two, they weren't vetted. We didn't know if they had COVID shots, but you let millions of them in, and nobody said nothing. I can't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. I mean, just swallow that for a second. So if COVID shots were so important, then why the hell did you let millions, 20 million, probably more, flood into the country during the Biden administration during COVID? It's insane. Insane. Insanity on sanity. Here's Harrison again having a conversation with himself. Donald Trump and his administration have done nothing to bring down the cost of housing, health care, child care, food, or gas. Donald Trump and his administration got America into a war that the people don't want. He is attempting to distract you from the reality. Wow. You know what? Gas, food, all of this stuff she just mentioned. The gas, food, housing. Let's just set the gas aside for a second, because the gas has come down from the insanity from you guys. And I just saw a clip. yesterday that we just found out, and I had a feeling he did, because right before the 2024 election, the gas prices dropped. And I said to people in my household, I go, wow, the gas just dropped massive. I bet he did this. He did this to get people to vote for him, so they're not feeling the pain. They're not feeling the pain at the pump, and maybe they'll vote for Harris. Biden. This was before he stepped down, too, right? Because he stepped down towards the end. But then we find out he had pulled it from the reserves and didn't refill them. Y'all been hearing about that? Maybe that'll be in a show tomorrow. So I was like, what? He took reserves to lower the cost to help them get elected. That's insane. And you don't hear CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC talking about that. Wow. And talk about child care, health care, housing costs, and food. We get rid of the illegals, we're not going to have this problem. The food costs went up because you poured in 20 million people and gave them all food stamps. And who's paying for that? The American taxpayers are paying for it. Stop it. Stop it. The president is scared of your power. Yeah, we're real scared. And he wants you to believe your vote does not matter. He wants you to lose confidence in our electoral system so you stay home this November. He knows how discontent the American people are, and he wants to make sure that you do not vote. That's not true, because CNN had a poll. In fact, CNN had a poll the other day, a couple days ago. Trump's approval rating in the same second term as I think Obama, and then somebody else in the second term at the same time period. Trump's at 83% approval rating. Yeah, CNN posted that. Damn. I was like, what? This is amazing. And we had polls of how many people actually want, American citizens want this. Not the small percentage of the far fringe, leftist, fascist, socialist, Islamist, communist people, formerly known as Democrats, where you hear them peddling it. They're paid activists is what they are. They're paid activists. I can't take her crap anymore. Let's move on. Oh my God. Gavin Newsom again, and he tweets the same day. He just tweets retarded stuff. Tonight, Donald Trump will confirm he is the gravest threat to our democracy. This isn't the rule of law. It's the rule of dawn. Do not bow to this mad king. Wow. This is stupid. It seems like that's all the left has, by the way. Insults, condemnation, just constantly. They can't come back with facts. Like, why don't he give us a reason why we shouldn't have the Save America Act? Why should we not have a bill that says, hey, only Americans can vote? That just makes sense to me. If you didn't like some other stuff in the bill and you guys only want Americans to vote, then why don't you sit down in public at a round table and we see you guys working together going, yeah, we do need only American citizens voting. Let's see if we can come to some understanding in this bill that we can all agree on. What else is in the bill that they disagree with? What else is in the Save America Act bill that the Democrats literally don't believe in? Just asking. Hey, look. This is literally their X page is called Cat Turd. Say, can you believe this? Enemy of the people. Just in, ABC and CBS will not air President Trump's primetime address to the nation on their broadcast networks. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm just showing you everybody who's jumping in on the bandwagon. Let's see. This says, this is from KC. It's no surprise ABC, NBC, and CNN aren't going to cover their own death warrant when it shows they are accomplices to the cover of that is shared tonight, not covering President Trump's address. The nation should alarm all Americans. They must be taken off the air. This will set the standard. They can do it when it's a national emergency. These networks are propaganda outlets. They're parrots of all the same things to brainwash the masses. It's called Operation Mockingbird. See Exhibit A. And ladies and gentlemen, let's see what Exhibit A is.
Hi, I'm Headley. Wolf.
This it's dangerous.
Huh? It's extremely to our democracy.
Dangerous to our democracy.
It's dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely 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 dangerous to our democracy.
Hi, I'm
This is insane. Now, I had played a clip like similar to this a couple of months ago in another show. What's insane is we don't need our tinfoil hat. This is a conspiracy, and it's no theory that they all got these same talking points. This is insane. And these are networks from all over the country who are affiliated with ABC, CBS, and NBC. They all have the same talking points. Like, man, powers that be, they got every one of those people who control those networks in each of those states and say, this is what you're going to say tonight. And these people are reading off a teleprompter. Yep. There you go. I mean, if you can't, if that's over your head, I don't know what to tell you. But when you had somebody take the time and put this together, kudos to them. Hats off. Who was this? Now, I don't know who actually put this video together, but it's somebody named KC who posted it, but I don't know who made it. But hats off to them who did it, who took the time and scoured the nation for this insanity. And they're the ones talking about us being propagandized too. Let's see. This is good here. This is good. Gina Millen. She's talking to CNN, and she says CNN will use their broadcasting license to travel to Tehran and cover the funeral of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei with Death to America chants in the background. Oh, they were probably loving that, man. They were like, yeah, did you get the chants in the back? So we could tell people, we need Death to America and we shouldn't be over there in Iran getting rid of these murderers. But they refused to air President Trump's address to the nation last night because he is pushing an election conspiracy. This is insane.
Looking at right now is what is expected to be the largest state funeral in modern Iranian history. Millions are set to pack the streets of Tehran for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's funeral 4 months after he was killed by the U.S. and Israel. Iran's Revolutionary Guards chief making a rare public appearance to pay his respects, as well as a number of foreign dignitaries from dozens of countries, China and Russia among them. Tonight, though, one person is missing. That's Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the slain leader who still has not appeared in public. CNN is in Iran.
He don't want to get killed.
Operate with the permission of the government there, but CNN maintains full editorial control. Fred Pleitgen, the only Western television journalist allowed inside this event today and tonight.
Wow, because they know that they're going to be favorable to them, so that's why they let them in there. She said he's the only one who's been allowed to go into this regime.
He's out front.
Wow.
As the U.S. and Israel...
That should shock you right there. What? You let somebody from CNN... They're the only ones. The only one guy.
...launched their war on Iran in late February, one of the first targeted assassinations, Iran's longtime supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, killed along with several family members in a massive airstrike. More than 4 months later, Iran is getting ready to hold possibly the largest funeral events in this country's history. Final preparations are under billboards and enemy in all the world. And she says it is our message from here to all the world that all people should stand up. Everyone should rise and give the slogan of death to the oppressors, death to America.
Wow. Wow. CNN repeats what she's saying. Now, I haven't watched this. Is there going to be a follow-up of like, man, they shouldn't be saying that. Hey, yeah, we need to go kick their butt. We need to get these Islamists out of America. Let's see what the rest of it is. He going to go, whoa, crazy. They're still saying death to America?
And this man says, we do not expect peace from the enemy. Our experience has proven this to us. After the U.S. and Israel killed the supreme leader and parts of Iran's political and military leadership, Tehran regrouped, quickly naming Khamenei's son, Mojtaba Khamenei, as the new supreme leader. He still has not been seen in public since taking the reins, and only...
Yeah, because he don't want to get killed.
Communicates by written statements. Iran also launching powerful missile and drone strikes and effectively shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. With a shaky ceasefire holding for now, Iran's political and military leaders were some of the first to pay their final respects at the coffins lying in state, including the president, foreign minister, and chief negotiator. Among the caskets, a tiny one containing the remains of Ayatollah Khamenei's granddaughter. Without a doubt, this martyrdom has strengthened our resolve, this Revolutionary Guard general says. Today, with even greater determination, we address the enemies of the Iranian nation, the United States, and the Israeli regime, and say we will hold them accountable for the blood of our martyred leader and all of our martyrs. Vows of retribution, even as both sides' negotiators aim to achieve a peace agreement looking to end the decades-long standoff between the U.S. and Iran.
And Erica, the Iranians say any further negotiations with the United States will have to wait until these funeral ceremonies are over after July 9th. They believe that up to 20 million people will be attending. Erica?
Not one mention of 30, 40,000 Iranian peaceful protesting citizens were murdered by these regimes. To me, this seems like they're aiding and abetting the enemy. Do y'all think that? There was nothing of quid pro quo, like, well, what did they do? Why are we bombing them? It's all, oh, well, death to America, his granddaughter died. Look, she's in a small casket. And then these other leaders that come out, they're not coming out. Why? What are their policies? What have they done for their people lately? I mean, why is the Iranian people wanting the regime gone? Apparently, there can't be fair elections there. What's happening? None of that in this story. I think this is treasonous. I don't know. What do y'all think? I thought this was great. This is from Babylon Bee. Democrats say they are perfectly capable of rigging elections without any help from China. AKA the mail-in ballots. Wow. This guy posts, he says, CNN wouldn't cover Trump's speech last night because of years of lying from the president. Perhaps CNN can answer for their lies. And what are their lies? There's a whole bunch of them. Look at this. You got the rural American can't live without NPR and PBS hoax. I'm glad he cut them off. I always hated PBS. Come on, raise your hand. You know NPR is garbage. Who listens to it on the radio? It was horrible. PBS, horrible. And they got taxpayer money, and Trump said, the ICE detainees, five-year-old hoax. Remember, they said that they detained a 5-year-old, and it wasn't true. In fact, the father of the kid left him, and then they tried to spin that. They actually tried to. Hegseth killed everybody. Trump destroying White House. Photo of starving Gaza babies. Israeli troops murdering food sneaking Palestinian hoax. This is crazy. Trump tariffs will explode prices. Maryland man hoax. Black newborns much more likely to die and dock in White House. Okay. Elon Musk is a Nazi salute. He was doing his heart by showing he loves him. Whatever. I saw something he's made, but whatever. It was stupid. They just hate Elon Musk. Mass hysterectomies performed on immigrants. What the hell? That sounds like something the left would do. The all-white Trump party. Springfield bomb threat. Trump called for Liz Cheney to be executed. Hitler crime. Violent crime down under Biden and Harris. That was a hoax. This is all things that CNN has ran stories on. Arlington Cemetery hoax. Kamala was never America's border czar. Wow. Now, Trump has put J.D. Vance, and y'all probably already know this, over the fraud. Yep. So, when J.D. Vance leaves office, he can't say, nah, I was never over the fraud. I wasn't the fraud czar. Let's see, Russia collusion. That's all about all of them coming. I might still have it. We'll get to it. Let's see if it's in. Hopefully, I put things in the correct order today. Where we have a montage of 2016 of them saying that Trump stole the election and Russia was involved. Hands up, don't shoot was a hoax. Jussie Smollett. Oh my God. The Jussie Smollett. Wow. Bro, I wonder how he's doing. Do you think he's gotten any jobs in Hollywood? I'm surprised they didn't put him on a pedestal because you know how the left rewards bad behavior. Covington KKK kids. Very fine people hoax. 7-hour gap. 7-hour gap hoax. Russian bounties hoax. Trump trashes troops hoax. Policeman killed at mostly peaceful January 6th protest hoax. Rittenhouse hoax. Eating while black hoax. Border agents whipping illegals. NASCAR noise hoax. Jim Crow. Let me see. Georgia Jim Crow 2.0 hoax. Trump assaulted Secret Service agents and grabbed steering wheel of beast. Wow. Mega assaulted Paul Pelosi. COVID lab leak theory and racist hoax. So we all know that they did do this. Hunter Biden's laptop in Russia. Disinformation hoax. Joe Biden will never ban gas stoves hoax. Wow. COVID deaths are overcounted is a conspiracy theory hoax. Wow. Mass graves of native children in Canada hoax. Trump killed Japanese KO fish hoax. Trump told people to drink bleach hoax. Hamas hospital hoax. If reelected, Trump will execute people hoax. The 900,000 kids hospitalized with COVID virus hoax. Dozens environmental hoaxes. The Antifa, the Alpha Bank hoax. Libs of TikTok. That's LAFA. This is really hard for me to read, by the way. Maybe I can move this over. There you go. We're down this list right here. Murdered non-binary. Dang. The Alpha Bank hoax. Libs on TikTok. Murdered non-binary teens hoax. Aaron Rodgers, Sandy Hook's truther hoax. Bloodbath hoax. Biden sharp as attack hoax. Iowa poll hoax. Melina Doc is a box office flop hoax. Yeah, I remember them saying that. That Melina's movie was a hoax, that it wasn't a box office. I watched it. It was actually good. You have to have a lot of respect for her. But anyway, there's all the hoaxes from CNN, right? That CNN claims Trump is the liar. But boy, look at this. Look at this. And whenever they do retractions, guys, it's just for a few seconds and it moves on and, whatever. It's for their viewers. It's for their mindless people, which is sad and pathetic. All right, look, this guy says a lot of people hate Trump, and that's fine, but if you're watching a news network that refuses to air the President of the United States, that they're not giving you a chance to think for yourself, and they're telling you what you need to think. Couldn't be more true. If you hate Trump and watch the news, you've probably been programmed. And listen to this guy.
You know, a lot of people hate Trump, and that's fine. But if you're watching a news network that refuses to air the President of the United States, they're not giving you a chance to think for yourself. They're telling you what to think.
Yep. That's what I've been saying. You're too stupid. You're too stupid to know what to eat. Apparently, they don't care what you eat. They had, when Trump administration had to come and say, okay, nah, y'all can't be buying sodas and cupcakes and garbage food. You have to buy healthy food with the SNAP program. Well, apparently, some people are kind of dumb. But if you give them an inch, they swim all over you. But I think the majority of Americans are intelligent enough to know, I want to see this for myself. I want to use my own brain, my own critical thinking to decide whether if I want to believe Trump or not. That should be for the people to decide, not a news agency. Look at this. This is a post from C3. They post a lot of really good stuff on X. It says all 11 offering free health care to illegals and do not require voter ID is D.C., California, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, Washington. These 11 account for 144 electoral college votes, 143 House seats, and 16 Senate seats. This is huge. And then he goes on to say the fraud is staggering. So this is really important, and the left knows this. The left knows this because in all of these states, they don't require an ID. And also, we found out, and we knew about Minnesota, but I don't know about all the states. But apparently, when you go get your driver's license in some of these states, they automatically register you to vote, even though you're an illegal. So there's massive fraud going on, and they need to just stop the lying. Just stop it. Of course, CNN says it's all a bunch of gobbledygook. Here we have Libs of TikTok. Y'all got to check out Libs of TikTok if you go on X. They're amazing posts, amazing news and search and fact finding on X. This is exactly why Democrats passed laws allowing illegals to get driver's licenses. When you get a license, you can easily register to vote. That license can then be used to vote if polling places require ID. This is the entire scam orchestrated by Democrats to register new foreign voters. Yep, because they can't get elected. They can't get elected without it. It all comes back to the DMV. This has been going on for years in many states. Every state which allows illegals to get licenses should have their DMV data audited ASAP. Duh. Yeah. Why are we giving illegals driver's license anyway? I have suspected we will find hundreds of thousands of registered foreign voters in many blue states. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and it is definitely not a mistake. This says, major breaking news, and this is what I was talking about, the 6,000. It says, New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill says over 6,500 non-citizens were mistakenly registered to vote after a software error at the DMV automatically registered them when they checked off that. Well, we're starting to find out more information about that because the people who run these machines snapped back at her because she was pointing the finger at somebody else. And we're going to continue to move on. I just wanted you to bring that up, that it was in New Jersey that this came out. This was July 21st, which was just 2 days ago, that they came out. Now, I guess I'm kind of curious of why they came out and said this. Because maybe they knew something was coming down the pike, that the Trump administration is hardcore on, because they're requesting rolls. Voting rolls. They're requesting them. They're wanting to know who's on Medicaid. They're wanting to know who's on SNAP. They need this. In fact, they've already shut off California and Minnesota, and they're already crying about that, by the way, because they shut them off. They're not giving them the information that the Trump administration is asking for. We just want to know who is on your rolls, who's getting assistances, who's on hospice, because we found out all the fraud that's happening in California, and they want that to stop. They want the money to flow because they're getting that money. Look, Cat Turd, you got to check out Cat Turd on X as well. He says, I've noticed that software errors in elections favor the Democrat candidates 100% of the time. Amazing. Here's J.D. Vance on X responding to Governor Mikey, whatever their name is. I don't even know. Mikey? If only there was a way to stop this type of software error that allowed non-citizens to vote in the elections. I hope Senators Cory Booker and Senator Andy Kim will join us in voting to pass the Save America Act to ensure that only eligible Americans voting can participate in New Jersey elections and all elections across the United States. Sounds legit to me. So again, she came out and admitted 6,500, and there's probably more, registered to vote, and that we're not even talking about mail-in ballot fraud. How much mail-in ballot fraud was happening in New Jersey? We don't know, but we know there is. We know they cheat. They cheat, Dr. Joan. And then now she comes out and says this, and I'm curious is why would you come out and admit this? Because the Trump administration and all this investigation stuff's coming out. So maybe they're just trying to get ahead. Maybe we're going to admit this, but now we're like, oh, this happened through the DMV. Why are you registering people through the DMV? CS3's got a lot of great stuff too, guys, on X. And here we go. Photo 1. A woman who just admitted her state has failed election integrity. Photo 2. A woman who claimed President Trump's election integrity speech was crazy. Man, I have said in past shows, what glorious, glorious times, thank you, Lord, that all of this is coming to light. All of this fraud, all of this betrayal, all of these Benedict Arnolds need to be brought into the light and crushed. And just crushed. Because every time you turn around, guys, if you just sit patiently and wait, Trump gets vindicated every time. And again, I'll repeat this. Why would Trump stand on a world stage and make himself look like a fool? That is never going to happen. That would never happen with him. He's not going to come forward with allegations without having some backing. Just saying. Libs on TikTok. Libs on TikTok strikes again. Strikes again. Says, holy crap. The illegal alien who connected Senator Richard Blumenthal and other Democrat officials rallied to support after he was detained by ICE. Check this out. Y'all remember when all that came out. He is registered to vote in Connecticut despite not being a citizen. Wow. 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 They went and fought ICE from detaining this guy, getting him out of the country because he's an illegal, but lo and behold, this guy is registered. Let me see. Seed Sanjanin registered to vote in 2018 after obtaining a driver's license by falsely claiming to be a U.S. citizen. His vote card was obtained through a FOIA request by the West Hartford Republican Town Committee. But Democrats say this never happens. And then wow. Insane, right? There you go. This never happens, though. But the guy that they were protecting, who's an illegal, is registered to vote. Y'all familiar with Persistence? I think he helped out Charlie Kirk a lot during the election, and I think he's running for office, or he's either already won it or something. But he he posts a lot of stuff on X, by the way. He's a conservative, and all full disclosure, I'm assuming he's gay. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, he's a conservative. He's fighting the good fight every day for American citizens. He says in New Jersey has thousands of illegal aliens registered to vote. Can you only imagine how many are registered in California? Good point. That's a good point, my guy. So now we have, this was yesterday, Fox News host calls out ABC, CBS, and NBC for giving 0 minutes of coverage to illegal trucker crime. They cover everything on ICE, but won't cover this for even 30 seconds, says Tracy Gallagher. It's a media cover-up. We have been seeing this most frequently during the election cycles, and we're getting close to one again. They are in cohorts with the Democrats. Wow. If it's a story that won't help Democrats, they'll bury the story over and over again, adds former Trump White House Deputy Conference Director Roman, whoever this guy is. You can see his thing. Trace. They care more about the narrative. Here in Sacramento and California, no media pushes back on Gavin Newsom. None. Free reign. No questions. It's kind of the same nationally. The media will not push back on the left. So they're not bringing up any trucking accidents and things like that, because probably it was an illegal driving, and they want to suppress President Trump's speech saying Trump just lies. So we're going to watch it for you.
When it comes,
What do you think?
well, it's the media cover-up, Trace, and we have been seeing this most frequently during election cycles, and we're getting close to one again here. So the media cover-up, and why? They are in cahoots completely with the Democrats, with the left. If it is a story that is not going to bode well for Republicans, or if it's a story that is not going to help Democrats, they will cover it up. They bury stories over and over and over again, and especially when it comes to immigration. I mean, you look at these horrific stories. One, the deadly crash has happened just here in Los Angeles, and you ask yourself, why? Do they not care about the victims? Do they not care about the communities? No, they care about helping the Democrats, and that's the media machine.
It's insane. It's insane. So they didn't want to cover this story that another illegal goes in a crash, and I didn't fact check this. Actually fact checking, but getting more information on how many people were killed, where the guy's from. We all probably know where he got his CDL. He got it through California. So I don't know why they are still on the road, because I'm sure Duffy's office is trying the best they can, because you got these people all over the country. Guys, when I'm driving down the freeway, when truckers are coming by me, I'm thinking, my God, are they one of them? Are they one of the ones who can't speak English, who can't read the road signs? What's happening here? We should all be afraid. We should all be afraid. And what these governors all across the country don't give a crap by giving these illegal CDL licenses, these death machines. And we've already had one American citizen is too much. When we've had lots of American citizens killed on our freeways from illegal drivers having CDL licenses who can't speak English. This is insane. Just another example of the media cover-up, the media bias that they're not telling the people. Mike Lee on X, he writes, when was the last time a state accidentally registered 6,600 non-citizens to vote? Banks don't rob themselves. Voter fraud doesn't occur spontaneously or accidentally, and it's difficult to pull off without willing accomplices in the state. Good point, my guy. And we're going to continue to go down the list because I've got this stuff in line. Look at this. New Jersey blames slight software glitch for enrolling entire country of Bolivia as voters. I think we do have the story coming up where they're all she's pointing the finger at somebody else. It's not their fault. It's not the Democrats' fault. It's not all the stuff that they have in place where they're automatically registering people to vote, giving them driver's licenses. No, or the machine's glitched. It wasn't our fault. But yeah, software glitch for enrolling the entire country of Bolivia as voters for America. That's hilarious. Thank you, Babylon B. You got a great sense of humor. Lib on TikTok. Libs of TikTok. No non-citizens are voting, so we don't need the Save America Act. But 6,600 non-citizens were accidentally registered to vote in New Jersey, but we can assure you non-citizens are not voting, as this was a simple software error. How does anyone take these people seriously? Oh my goodness. What does this say? This is Congresswoman, what is her name? Kate McCormick. So she says, here's your friendly reminder that 19 states issue driver's licenses to illegals, and 15 of those states automatically register votes to vote. Senators passed the Save America Act. So there you have it. You got 15 states in the United States. And these people are automatically registered, and I showed you the list, and they're all blue states. It's the only way they can win elections. It's the only way they can win elections. Wow. Let's see, Tim Burchett, love him. Man, love this guy. So he posts on X, what they said wasn't happening, it is happening 35,152 times in New Jersey. Thank you, Donald Trump. And here's Donald Trump post on Truth Social, and this was posted yesterday. 35,152 is the new number just released by Homeland Security of non-citizens registered to vote in New Jersey. Is CNN and the rest of them covering this? Nope, Trump's lying. These are just These are just the ones that got caught. The real numbers were proved to be many times this amount. They are all Democrats. Republicans get smart and straighten it out. Our crooked elections and pass the Save America Act. Insane. It's insane. Wow. And this is not Donald Trump finding the 32,000, guys. This is Homeland Security found this. Oh my gosh. You've got there's Pocahontas. If you don't know who Pocahontas is, this is Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren was asked by Linda's TV whether the New Jersey revelation nearly 400 illegal aliens were actually cast ballots changes her staunch opposition to Save America Act. And her response is, it's already illegal for someone who's not an American citizen to vote, period. There are already laws to prevent that. Pushed on Democrats' claims that illegals never vote, she declined to answer further. She did. She did. She just kept saying, no, it's already illegal to vote. They're not voting. We've been told by them that they're not getting food stamps, they're not getting Obamacare, and they're not getting subsidized housing. And then we were told that they weren't voting. Now who is lying? Who is lying now? That's all I'm saying. Here we go. We're moving down the list. Then we have, this was yesterday, bombshell. Donald Trump just revealed that the number of non-citizens registered to vote in New Jersey is more than 5 times higher than the Governor Sherrill's estimate. Let's see, 35,000 is the new number just released by Homeland Security of non-citizens registered to vote in New Jersey. These are just the ones that got caught. Save America Act now. And then they came out and did a press conference and said, yeah, we found all this. We found all of this. I'm trying to zip through this because we've been long. Looks like I posted this. Maine U.S. Senator debate who will replace Graham? Will it be the trans? And that was yesterday's show. I hope you do go watch Rochelle Emerson's yesterday's show on the U.S. Senate debate. And they had the transgender on board. Let's see. What is this? In 2020, Congressman Miller Meeks, representative Iowa, won her election by 6 votes. Won it by 6 votes. Look, Meeks, 996,000, and Hart, 996,000. But look, 6 votes. DHS says 35,000 non-citizens are registered to vote in New Jersey. Governor Mickey Sherrill Democrat New Jersey said 6,000 non-citizens are registered to vote. About 400 voted. Anytime an illegal alien votes, a lawful American citizen is disenfranchised. That's why it canceled out your vote. When you have a race this tight, I mean, the 400 out of the 600, that right there changes the race. And it always goes to, generally it does go to the Democrat. Governor Sherrill said 6,000 non-citizens registered to vote, 400 voted. Anytime illegal aliens vote, your vote is disenfranchised. This is a constitutional crisis passed the Save American Act. I think it is a constitutional crisis. I agree. I think it is. This is Benny Johnson. Hamlet Dillon announces she will denaturalize and deport illegals who voted illegally in New Jersey. Wow. So we already know there's 35,000 of them. They are subject to prosecution and removal from the United States. People need to see the consequences of voting when you are not allowed to deport them all. But what are the Democrats going to say? Well, they didn't know that we automatically registered them to vote. Then how did they know to go vote? How did they know to go vote? I'm just saying, how are they going to defend this? Right? They're going to say, well, you can't deport them because they didn't know they shouldn't have voted. The United States of America will never be a communist country. We're going down the line. Let's see. Today's lesson in irony. Here we go. This is from Denise. Trying to zip through these guys. We are going long. The food stamp program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distributed 40 billion free meals and food stamps to over 37 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, run by the U.S. Department of the Interior, asks us, please do not feed the animals. Their stated reasons for this policy being that the animals will grow dependent on the handouts, and then they will never learn to take care of themselves. This concludes today's lesson. Any questions? There you go. I thought that was great. This was yesterday. I love Steve Miller. He says, devastating. Arizona just stated removing nearly 50,000 non-citizens from the voter rolls. And Katie Hobbs only folded after America First Legal sued every single county into submission. They had to go to court to get these people removed. This is the problem with these feckless, boneless, no balls judges who are in the pockets of the Islamic Socialist Communist Party, formerly known as the Democrats. Democrats under the Biden cartel flooded illegal aliens with millions of Social Security numbers so they could vote. Arizona law already required proof of citizenship for local and state elections, plus monthly non-citizen checks. Hobbs and Adrian Fonts refused. They protected the invasion. America First Legal dragged all 15 counties into the court. Now, these counties are finally working with the DHS to verify every registrant who never proved citizenship. They had to be sued into following the rule of law. This is the fight. This is the win. Only American citizens decide American elections. Pass the Save America Act nationwide now. And there you go. And that's what they were talking about. It's insane, right? It's insane. You had to take them to court to get them off the register. This guy here, Representative Clay Fuller, he's in Northwest Georgia, so he's proud to introduce a constitutional amendment requiring federal judges to be natural-born citizens. Judges should have lifelong allegiance to the United States and the United States only. End of story. And that's him. And Godspeed to you, my guy. Godspeed to you, because this is what needs to happen. We talked about it in other shows. Trying to zip through this. Here we go. We're going to get a history lesson on the Social Security because I wanted to have that as a follow-up behind Steve Miller's post. history lesson on Social Security, just in case some of you young whippersnappers and some older ones didn't know this. It's easy to check out. If you don't believe it, be sure and show it to your family and friends. They need a little history lesson on what, and it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, facts are facts. Let's see. Up until the 1980s, Social Security cards expressly stated the number and card were not to be used for identification purposes. Since nearly everyone in the United States now has a number, it has become convenient to use it anyway, and that not for identification message was removed. Franklin Roosevelt, and Democrat, introduced the Social Security FICA program. His promises are in black, with updates in brackets. That participant in the program would be completely voluntary, no longer voluntary. Yeah, you have to have a Social Security card. Let's see. That participant in the program would be completely okay, we read that. That the participants would only have to pay 1% of the first $1,400 of their annual income into the program. Now it's 7.65% on the first $90,000 and 15% on the first $90,000 if you're self-employed. That the money the participants elected to put into the program would be deducted from their income tax purposes each year. That no longer tax is deductible. That money the participants put into the independent trust fund, we're still talking about Social Security, rather than into the general operation fund, and therefore would only be used to fund the Social Security retirement program and no other government program. Under Johnson, the money was moved to the general fund and spent. It wasn't supposed to ever be used for spending in the government. That the annuity payments to the retirees would never be taxed in income under Clinton and Gore. There you go, Democrats. Is up to 85% of Social Security can be taxed. Since many of us have paid into the FICA for years and are now receiving a Social Security check every month and then finding that we are getting taxed on 85% of the money we paid into the federal governments to put away, you may be interested in the following, and this is the kicker. Which political party took Social Security from the independent trust fund and put it into the general fund so that Congress can spend it? You guessed it. It was Lyndon Johnson and the democratically controlled House and Senate. Which political party eliminated the income tax deduction for Social Security, the FICA withholding? You guessed it, the Democrat Party. Which political party stated taxing Social Security annuities? You guessed it, the Democrat Party. With Al Gore casting the tie-breaking deciding vote as president of the Senate while he was vice president of the U.S. And my favorite, which political party decided to start giving annuity payments to immigrants? You guessed it, that's right, Jimmy Carter and the Democrat Party. Immigrants moved into this country at an age of 65 began to receive Social Security payments. The Democrat Party gave these payments to them, even though they never paid a dime into it. Now, after violating the original contract of FICA, the Democrats turned around and tell you that the Republicans want to take your Social Security away. The worst part about it is uninformed citizens believe it. Even if even people received this, maybe a seed of awareness would be planted and maybe changes will evolve. Maybe not, though. Some Democrats are awfully sure of what isn't so. But it's worth a try. How many people can you send this to? And there you go. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? The Democrat Party took it away, so now they can spend your money, use it, and then they scream the Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. Okay, so I think if the Republicans are going to do any reform in Social Security, we need to make sure illegals are not getting Social Security. How about that? New Jersey voter scandal explodes. Governor Mickey Sherrill caught lying. The company she tried to blame for registering 6,600 non-citizens just fired back. The company came after her. They say we submitted the data. The State Division of Elections validates and registers them anyway. This is what they say. They saw non-citizens clear as day and approved it. No software glitch, deliberate failure. Sherrill pointing pointing fingers while the state she oversees lets foreigners on the rolls. This is election interference. Every state needs a full audit now, hold the officials accountable, prosecute if laws were broken. And there she is. There she is. Remember I told you earlier we were going to cover that they were pointing the finger. She's pointing the finger. No, we didn't do it. But these people said no. They have the final say. They have the final say. We transmit the data. The State Division elections validates and registers them anyway. And they saying they saw non-citizens clear as day. Clear as day on that. That's insane. Gosh, we could just keep going. And we've already gone really long. This is it. This is Libs of TikTok again. And this was posted yesterday, but it just popped up in my feed. It says, you thought New Jersey was the only state who accidentally registered non-citizens to vote through the DMV. Oregon also mistakenly registered 1,500 non-citizens. We should immediately halt voter registration at DMV. Yeah, you think? No more registered voters when they get their licenses. We should also require proof of citizenship, immigration status to get a driver's license. Illegals should not be able to get a driver's license in our country. Imagine entering a foreign country illegally and demanding a driver's license. No other country on the planet is doing this. Would tolerate this BS. I don't know, man. The European Union, I think Great Britain, they might be done. I read somebody had posted something earlier and said that they went and visited there and they said, man, it's over. It's over. It's nothing but Muslims. Let's see. The DMV is the election fraud epicenter. Wow, apparently they're giving them CDL licenses. Give them official government IDs where they're basically automatically registered to vote, and then they can use the IDs to vote and get benefits. This is the entire scam. It all comes back to the DMV. And there you have it. I mean, this is just going on and on and on. I'm going to have my guy Brandon Lee on here. Brandon Gill. I said Brandon Lee. There did more committee hearings today on the Smithsonian. This hearing, which I kind of wanted to cover it's about an hour long. I watched it last night. And they're talking about the ABA, what is that? The American Bar Association, the ABA. They had the head lady, which you just saw her a second ago, She's like the CEO or whatever they call her, president of the ABA. And they're going over how racist they are. It was great. And Brandon Gill was amazing. I am wanting to do a show on it because it was so good. I was like, whoa. And there was a second committee hearing yesterday of the Smithsonian. So I need to get caught up on that as well. But I did want to get caught up on the voter fraud. I wanted to do a show on that as well. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think about all the stuff we talked about today. And do you think there's voter fraud going on? Do you think Trump is just a big fat liar? Do you really think Trump would get on a world stage and make himself look like a fool? If you think, because I know you leftists are all like, oh, Trump's just arrogant and narcissistic. Okay, so let's say he is. I'll grant you that. Let's say he is. He's not going to get up and make himself look like a fool in front of the world, in front of other world leaders. No, he's got balls. He's not going to do that. If he's going to say something, he's going to stand by what he's saying. And he's going to have facts to back it up. But anyway, always use your own critical thinking. Always remember Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. Seek him out for your salvation. And have a great day. And let me know what you think in the comment section.